killing me.
Did I lie?
No, you didn't lie.
Thank you.
All right, Toots, take it away. I can't.
That's funny. My mom used to call me Toots. Okay, so Tootsie Rolls. So I was 8. I was 8 or 7 or 8. I had to be 8. It's not super relevant. But so it was my mom and my sister and I that lived together. My parents were divorced. And I had braces. My sister was older than I had braces. At 8. That's, well, yeah. Now you see the Tootsie Rolls coming? Yeah. So I was either getting my braces on or getting them tightened. I don't know which, but it was super painful. So we all went to get this task done together, and then we were coming home and we were watching Gone with the Wind. It was going to be a movie night. And I'm like,
one painful thing after another.
Whose pick was this? But okay. So we come home and my mom had gotten popcorn and Tootsie Rolls as the movie snack. Okay. And going into it, I didn't think these were going to be an issue because I had no experience with braces. We hadn't talked about these things. So I put in a Tootsie Roll and I'm like, oh my gosh. It felt like, my jaw had been cut off. I was like, so I was like I tried to suck on the Tootsie Roll. And the popcorn was ever slightly better, but I just gave it all up. And I'm sure I had soda or water or something. But the thing about okay, so in remembering in that moment, I felt like my mom was not mindful of me at all. Now, of course, I wasn't thinking this as an 8-year-old, but I thought, well, Mom and Lisa are happy. No one knows that and like, it's minor in the, I wasn't beaten, I wasn't whatever, but it was like, they don't even know that I'm not important enough. So fast forward to now, if I feel the modicum of not being considered, I go right back to the Tootsie Roll. And then it's that, right?
Wow. When you mean like you have the image in your mind, you like the memory?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not important. So I can be at a friend's for a dinner thing. And if something happens, and this is where I love that if it's hysterical, it's historical. If I get the sense that I am not being considered, then it goes to, I'm not worth it. I'm not worthy. I'm not important. And I'm like, this is I just fell in a crazy hole. And it feels exactly like Tootsie Rolls and Gone with the Wind.
That's just so, it's such a stunning example of how, like we were talking about neuroplasticity. We were this sense of how we get wired. And it's a stunning example of dogs barking. It's a stunning example. I think. Did you just give the dog Tootsie Rolls?
That's what he's asking for. Because I usually give him Tootsie Rolls. It's my morning greeting from Lex.
You give him Tootsie Rolls to keep him quiet. He probably needs one now. Right. But I mean this sense of how we have this feeling, and it immediately takes us to a place that is that ancient, that tells us something about how often we've probably thought about it over the years and carried it with us. And it recycles itself in such a way to even kind of double back and strengthen our felt conviction in the present moment that, like, I'm not considerable. Not just that I don't feel considered by the other, like I'm not considerable. And it is, and so like it's in those moments where and not just naming what I'm feeling at the present moment, but connecting it to the old story also allows our listener to go with us to when we were 8.
Yeah.
To be able to say, that wouldn't have been fun. And I wish that your mom had been more mindful, or if I wish that if I'd been there, that I would have noticed that and been more mindful. And in fact, a lot of the work that we do with patients in addressing trauma, in addressing even like minor traumatic moments, and this is why we would say, like, as you said, like, nobody was abusing me, nobody's doing anything bad to me and stuff. No, like, you get to do it all to yourself.
Right.
By telling yourself this story over and over and over. It's like if you had your own personal shame attendant there who was like saying, like, you're just not really worth paying attention to, Amy.
But Amy, what I was going to say is I just want to acknowledge that the fact that you've been able to connect it, those current feelings to that past thing is because you've done work. It's because you have already done so much work, and you, like, just the fact that you know what it is now has got to be so helpful for you in those situations.
It is, because I know that feeling. So the minute that comes up, I'm like, Tootsie Rolls, no. And then I think, is there something? Yeah, if there's something I want to ask for or whatever. But it's a vastly different experience.
No, I was just going to say, like at times when, as an actor, especially on the stage, you'd love those things. Like that you could actually go back to the memory and smell and taste that Tootsie Roll. Yeah. Like in that moment on the stage, you would hearken that up, those memories that and I think that I just want to just say, well done. That you're
right on.
Thanks, Pat.
You see the cause. Yeah.
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much in, when, beginning in the earliest texts of Scripture in the Old Testament, there's so much that is, there's so much admonishment about remembering. And remembering from a posture of grace, remembering from a posture of hospitality, not remembering from a posture of trauma, remembering like, oh, that was a horrible thing that happened to me, but remembering it with the intention of allowing it to change your anticipated future.
Right.
And just like Pepper's saying, like it's when we have wounding experiences, the way that I remember my past is always going to be, if I'm left to remember it by myself, I'm going to remember it in a way that only reinforces the wounding nature of the wound. It is when I'm remembering it through the eyes of someone else who can help me recall it with mercy and compassion and with a different anticipated future, that I can then make a habit of remembering it with a very different intention than the one my isolated brainstem and limbic circuitry wants to do. But that takes practice, that takes effort. And so, Pepper, to your point that, Amy, you wouldn't be able to just name this the way you just did without having done a lot of work of the right kind of remembering in order to create a different anticipated future. That's just so beautiful.
And it's true. It's the right kind of hard work, because it's hard work, and it's sometimes confusing work, but it is. It's good.
Yeah. And I've never been a fan of Tootsie Rolls. I don't understand them. It's like the worst candy of all time. It's like, it's not a caramel. It's not a chocolate. And, it just is.
I don't think it's organic. I don't think it's made of real material from the earth. No. I think it's it gets shipped to some kind of petroleum company. It's something.
It's all that to say, if you're going to have to miss out on a specific candy because of a bad memory, that's a good one to pick, because
it's true. Because if it was Reese's peanut butter cups, that would have been a big loss.
Come on.
Can I just say that right now it's likely that the whoever the executive at the company who owns and manufactures Tootsie Rolls is probably not going to be calling us.
He or she is going to be doing a rater review.
For advertisement support. They're going to be doing a different kind of review for us.
Yeah.
Because they've heard us say Tootsie Rolls 200 times.
How dare you? Of course, as they say, right? Isn't it true that there's no such thing as bad
PR,
bad publicity?
Bad publicity.
Yeah. So I'm just really curious about how all that's happening. Yeah.
Did you have another story you wanted to share, Amy?
No, I think that was
okay.
I think we can end on Tootsie Rolls.
All right. Thanks for today, you guys. This was great.
All right,
That
guys.
was great.
Yep. Right on.
We'll see you next week.
Until next time.
Bye.